And so for us, every day is a very special day. And our love for each other is better than ever before. And it's a physical love as well as a respecting love.
It's hard to see romance when you're dealing with all the bodily functions and all the caregiving aspects. It does, it's a wear and tear on that aspect of your marriage.
At this point, to me, it's not like it was years ago. It's not like making love. It's just simply having sex.
It's my experience that virtually every couple faces this challenge to their relationship, not only with respect to sexuality, but the overall fabric of the relationship is tested because of this disease.
And on one occasion, and this happened one time, and I've never really shared it too much with anyone, and this was one of the last sexually intimate times we had. We came in, and he was very affectionate, very aggressive to a certain extent, but it was like, you don't really know who I am. And it was a strange feeling because it wasn't something that you could accept with someone who's being intimate with you, but they don't know who you are. Because I was trying to think, how do you express this? And I've always felt that a sexual intimacy is as much a meeting of minds as of bodies. And if one half of that is gone, then it sort of destroys it all. We had a very, very loving relationship, and the way it's deteriorated is a hurtful thing, because in this instance I was describing to you, my husband finally reached the point where it was obvious he didn't recognize me as belonging here, and he wanted me to hurry up and go, you know. And I feel bad and embarrassed that I even went along with it, because I put my clothes on and went out the back door and walked around the block and eventually came back in the house. Then he said, "Where have you been?" And he seemed then to recognize the fact that I belonged there.
After that one incident with your husband, did he ever express any further sexual feelings again?
Very infrequently, until finally the point is now, excuse me, now it seems like that's not a part of our lives anymore.
And how about for yourself? Have there been times when you were sexually interested or attracted toward him?
There have been, but they come so infrequently, and I feel as though I would be taking advantage of someone. I have this feeling like he doesn't know or he doesn't understand, and I just feel like I would be taking advantage of him. And that, in addition to the fact that I seem to have moved from wife to mother, you know, and taking care of all needs and doing things, but the relationship that we had before seemed to go, you know, from the front to the back burner to maybe off the stove. When you're taking care of a person and watching over them and doing all the intimate things for them, it sort of takes away from the romantic aspect of that relationship. You hold up just a little bit, and get under your chin and across here. There are times when he can be affectionate. You'll walk up and you'll give him a kiss, or he'll give you a hug, and then other times he'll kind of draw back and act like, you know, what are you doing? What are you doing? But it just depends on the moment. You know, if you see the moment where you can reach in and touch and be affectionate, you take it. You know, and if you feel that it's not, then you have to let it go, regardless of how you might feel. And you have to learn not to be rebuffed, you know, not to let your feelings be hurt. You have to have a sort of an emotional shield around you to deal with the things that come your way. If your relationship with your spouse has diminished as far as a knowledgeable friendship and emotional interaction, then I think it's important that you get that elsewhere. So my friends and my family, my children, have become very important, and I guess they are really what keep me going.
Are these things that you've been able to discuss with others, particularly the changes in the sexual intimacy?
Not really, not really.
Even in your support group?
No. Now I have to be fair, I haven't been to the support group for a while, but on the occasions when I was there, I don't recall that subject was touched upon. I wondered about it, but thought maybe this is my problem only, no one else is having it, you know, or, you know.
I can reassure you, everybody's going through these changes. Unfortunately, very few people talk about it. Why do you think it's so difficult to discuss this topic with professionals or other people, for example, in support groups?
One of the reasons is because of the age. Someone in our age group, my husband's 79, I'm 72, you're not supposed to know about sex, or if you ever knew, you're forgotten by now, and you haven't. You really haven't. And you need to know that to be able to deal with what people are feeling.
People respond, and when I say people, not just the patient, but the caregivers as well, respond to this disease very differently. They're individuals, because of the crises and the losses and the scariness of what this means for the future, then having an intimate relationship or having somebody you can hold and caress and love will be even more important. And for some couples, this is the case. There are couples who will say that somehow, surprisingly, that part of the relationship has become even stronger because it helps them cope.
I don't think that
I'll give you a second to think if you like. Betty's a tender-hearted little girl, and it's easy for her to cry. And I'm a tender-hearted guy too, so we cry together occasionally,
Sure.
as well as laugh together.
Sure.
But that's kind of a tough question.
It's a very
Yeah.
tough question.
And I
Okay.
appreciate her coming up with an answer for that. And if you don't mind a tear or two, we might have one here before we
Yes.
finish up. Okay. How do you
What
feel
was the
about
question?
Yeah.
Well, the question had to do with what is it like to have Alzheimer's disease? What is it like for you?
it's very, very frustrating.
In a word, it's frustrating.
Right. I'm able to converse with people. I have a lot of friends. That give me support. And our kids have made some efforts to help me so Everett can be doing things.
I think one of the things that's really been hard for Betty is to see some of these things happening to her, to know what she used to be able to do. Like she's been a wonderful mother, a wonderful wife, a great cook. She would experiment on us, use us as guinea pigs, and never failed at any of her specialties. She just whipped them out and they came out beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden to be burning everything on the stove, or to double the ingredients that was supposed to go in something, or forget to put something in that was supposed to be there. These things begin to happen, or then to melt a couple of tea kettles, that kind of thing. Then we realize that, hey,
That takes knowledge, Everett.
knowledge and talent, and you've got both.
Yeah.
You betcha. But so then for her to suddenly realize that she's not able to do those things anymore has been difficult. You got to put it in front of your chair. You have to walk around it. I'm going to put it over there by your chair. Okay?
You want me to move this over there?
Now mine is going to be here, and
Yeah.
this one goes over there, because that's where you're going to sit.
This disease imposes a lot of stress upon you, and I'm wondering how that's affected each of you.
Well, I think it's better now than it used to be, because Everett shows much, concern, and is a good support for me.
Certainly our love for each other, as Betty indicated, I think is stronger now than it's ever been. Simply because from my vantage point, I realize how much I need her, how much I depended on her in the past, how much I love her now, and I want to do everything I can to make life meaningful for her. And so for us, every day is a very special day.
Mm-hmm.
And our love for each other is better than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a physical love as well as a respecting love.
Mhm.
Right.
Ditto.
Some couples facing Alzheimer's disease have told me about a diminished sexual desire because of some of the daily frustrations they face. They just don't feel like they're interested in that anymore, and there's a different focus in their relationship. I'm wondering what that experience has been for you. Either a diminished desire, some people report to me an increased desire.
That's the way I feel about it. I think, I don't know, maybe it's maybe I'm greedy.
Uh-huh.
Keep on being greedy, kid. What do you mean by that?
Can you talk about that, somebody? You feel a greater closeness and a desire for Everett than before?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've always liked him pretty much. Okay, how are you folding
You want
it?
to do the t-shirts? Any way you want to do them is fine.
I doubt
Or do you want me to tell you which way to do it?
He'll be telling me in no time. I hope I see this in
We better have you fold your stuff.
the... What?
Maybe we better have you fold your stuff.
This is mine, isn't it?
I hope so. I am in trouble if it isn't. Yeah, that's yours. Doesn't quite fit me. I was gonna say, we're really into it this morning, aren't we?
Did you plant that?
I just wanted to see how you would react to that.
Oh. Everett,
You're outstanding.
I'm so excited I can't do it.
Our relationship is so complete and so committed to each other, and because, again, because of our faith, we feel God has put us together, that we can give ourselves to each other completely, just no reservation.
take more time for each other. And we agree on being intimate with one another. And it's really a joy.
Thanks. They are nice. You want to sniff it? You can sniff it. Not me, it. I think the relationship has a lot more depth to it now. Also, you realize that it isn't going to go on forever, as Betty alluded to. That today's a great day, and so we're going to keep it great, and we're going to make it as great as we can make it today. And if we should have tomorrow, or 100 tomorrows, or 1,000 tomorrows, then we're going to make those just as meaningful too.
Do I get to eat one of these? At least?
The chef always gets to nibble. Bob and I have known for 3 years about the fact that he had Alzheimer's. I think one of the hardest things was just, first of all, having to, accept the fact, and then having to let the children know everything. Okay, I'm going to take that out now, honey. So we'll just put this one, yeah.
All right.
Both of us have mellowed more this year than we have the last 2 years. I think the way I felt even, a year ago, was that we were like living on a powder keg. You never knew, if one of us was going to explode, not necessarily just Bob, but me too. Mm-hmm. And I think that has all calmed down. Our relationship is good, but it's not the same, and it never will be.
No.
It never will be the same. Mm-hmm. I think we're closer in a lot of ways. In the first year, we did an awful lot of talking. We really didn't know anything about Alzheimer's. I mean, that was another thing that was laid on us. What is this? I didn't even know how to spell it. Bob, all you have to do then is just put the orange juice around. The napkins, too, I think, need to go around. I guess I never really thought of myself as a person that took care of my husband. I mean, yes, if he had a bad cold, I'd get him something, and then say, it's not that bad. But this is something totally different where, yes, he is really sick, and it's not going to be something where he is going to get over it by giving him, an aspirin. And because he does look as good as he does, it's hard to think that he really is sick. So I think it comes to the point where you do get angry at times. It's very aggravating to tell him something and then know, 10 minutes later, or maybe 5 minutes later, that he's not going to remember anything that I said. And then he'll ask me again the same thing, and okay, here we go again. And I've gotten better at it. I think the last couple of years, or the first couple of years, I know my facial expressions gave me away. I was like, I can't believe you're asking me this again. But I think that I have gotten better, and I think we all have.
Thank you. Table side manners.
And I think somebody, I don't remember who it was, that said, we are the ones that have to change. Bob is not going to. I think it was very hard for me. I kept thinking, you will remember, you will. If I do this, you're going to remember. Well, he's not going to.
Many of the couples I've spoken to do report changes in the intimate aspect of the relationship due to the Alzheimer's disease. And I'm wondering how that's been for each of you.
Well, I never get enough of it. No.
It has changed.
Yeah, it has changed, I'm sure.
Due to the fact that my role has changed too. I mean, I think that it's hard to be, the lover and also the caregiver. I love Bob in many ways, and we do show our love in many ways, but it's not necessarily the same way, like in bed, as often, or really very little. And I don't know, maybe a good psychologist would have fun with me. I've also gone through the change of life in the last 2 years too, and I just been put on medication for that. So I mean, there's a lot of things that are going on, but yet we do talk about it. It's not like that we don't, and
That's well
we
said,
still,
I think, really.
Yeah.
and we really have a very good time together. I mean, it's not like we don't want to be together.
So there's been a lot of emotional upheaval that has affected your sex life, but nonetheless, you still enjoy your relationship,
Right,
other
Right.
aspects of your relationship.
right.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
For sure. But I think it's very hard to deal with this on a minute-to-minute basis and then think of Bob as my sex partner, because I'm not thinking sex. I'm thinking more of what we have to do to get, to have the day run smoothly, what we have to do to make him feel good so that he's not by himself. How is that going to work out? And maybe I should be seeking some kind of help, to be perfectly honest. I don't have time to. And so I'm not. And we'll deal with it the best way we can. And I don't think we're going to grow apart because of it.
Boy, this is oh boy.
Do you remember how old that is?
Oh, don't put that in my heart. That's
got-
too long.
we got that
And
for a
I'm
wedding.
not gonna go back and come back again.
We got that for a wedding present. So it's almost 46 years old and it's still toasting. And every time
It's hard. You're really living with a different person. I mean, he doesn't always know me. He knows me. He doesn't always know I'm his wife. He knows that I'm around. And one time, I think I mentioned to you, he said to me, "Would you like to go out sometime?" And I thought he meant, "Do you want to go to a movie?" And we do this once in a while. And I said, "Sure, would you like to go to a movie?" He said, "Well, to a movie or go out for dinner, whatever you'd like." And I thought, okay. And I said, "Do you know who I am?" And he said, "Yeah, you're one of the people that take care of me." And I said, "Honey, I'm your wife." And he said, "Well, you might be one of my wives, but you're not my only wife," And it's like, oh gosh, it's kind of hard. And so of course it does change a little bit. It's more of a caretaking thing. It's strange in that, well, I'm just going to say it this way. Mike had lost a job, and he was very down about this, and it really affected his self-esteem, I know. And right following that, he lost all desire for sex, and it seemed like he would attempt to have sex, and he just had no success. And we went for a period actually of 7 years without having any sexual relations at all. And this was before I noticed any problems at all. And then the really strange part to me is, I think probably within a month, we had been on a vacation in Florida in March. And he started to show a little interest in sex, and we had sex again. And it was like, oh, isn't this great? This is starting. And it was like the next month that I first noticed the problem with the memory loss. And it seems that it's progressed almost at the same rate, in opposite directions. As the memory loss got worse, the sexual desire increased.
The sexual interest reactivated
Right.
at the same time that the Alzheimer's disease
Right.
symptoms became apparent to you.
Right.
So during that 7-year time, when you weren't sexually active, you had accommodated yourself to that. Both of you
Right.
had adjusted to that.
Right. And let's face it, this isn't something, I don't talk to my friends, even my very good friends, about how many times a week do you have sex. They don't ask me that, and of course I don't talk to my children about this. Yeah. And so for all I knew, well, maybe this was normal, to stop at this age and this sort of thing. And I just accepted it, just plain accepted it. And I thought there was no point in pushing that.
Now you say that through the years, though, Mike has become more active.
Right.
Can you say a little bit more about the nature of that? Describe
Right. In the last, I'd say probably in the last year, he's become very aggressive sexually. I mean, not when I say aggressive, I don't mean physically aggressive, but I mean he's just asking for sex a lot more. And at this point, my body is changing also. I cannot accommodate this as much as probably he would like. And it's just, we've tried to talk about this, and I'll say, well, look, how about if we say 2 or 3 times a week, and we'll go along with that, okay? And he'll say, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. And he said, if I ask you and you don't want to, just tell me, no, you don't want to. But of course, a half hour after he said that, he's forgotten that he said it.
When I got it, boy, it was just like a bolt.
Like a bolt,
Yeah,
the memory problem.
yeah, just like it just came out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
But but I gotten to the point where I just talked to myself and said, okay, I can't do it. I'll do whatever I can,
Mm-hmm.
doing without this kind of,
Without the memory, you do whatever you can.
that's right.
Who helps you? Is there somebody around that helps
My
you out?
wife.
Your wife,
Yeah,
May.
oh yeah. Oh, she's top notch, I'll tell you.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what the heck I would have done up to what I've done, what I've been able to do if I didn't have her.
Mike, can you tell me about your sexual relationship? Has that changed as you've gotten older?
Oh, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
When I say I don't think so, I'm in that
Mm-hmm.
because all of us get older, but we don't have any problems at all. We can go today and not go for 10 days
Uh-huh.
if we don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have any problem with it because if there's something that we need, we talk about it.
Right. So you're
Mhm.
still sexually active?
Sure,
Mm-hmm.
sure. It's not.
And
I don't think that either one of us probably is concerned as much as we did
As it used to?
30, 40 years ago.
Some periods he's much more interested than others. Other times we'll go along, and 2 or 3 times a week is fine. But sometimes he'll be asking like 3 times a day, and that makes for a very tense situation. And I don't like to argue with him. But when I refuse, sometimes then he kind of gets sullen or goes off and sits by himself and kind of broods a little bit and, well, I can't do anything and this sort of thing. And then I feel so guilty because I feel there are so few things that really give him pleasure, and I hate to deny him that, but I've got to be real.
This experience of hypersexuality it's not so uncommon, that it does occur. Sometimes it goes on for a period of months or years, but it can develop into a chronic problem. And most commonly, though, I think couples experience a diminished interest. Mm-hmm. The person with Alzheimer's disease loses interest, and also the spouse loses interest because of the changing nature of the relationship.
Right.
The sense that your partner has become like a stranger, mm-hmm. and you've talked about that some.
Right.
But you've been able to keep intact that special bond you've shared throughout your married life. And it seems like that's enabled you to continue to participate.
But at this point, to me, it's not like it was years ago. It's not like making love. It's just simply having sex.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. For you,
That's
the feeling
that's what it's come to now
okay,
for me.
It's
Yeah.
rather mechanical. In some
Really,
ways.
yes. We just get to it and have sex in a very short order.
Have you noticed your own sexual interest decreasing over time?
Yes, really. I don't know. It's just whether it's just unconscious on my part because of the change in him. It's kind of not as if he's the same person, and I guess the feeling that I don't think he always knows it's even me. In fact, one time when I refused him, he said, well, if you don't want to, could you find somebody for me? And I mean, it's like, oh, that doesn't make you feel very good either. You know, it's that he's not really interested in you. And, you know, it's just,
Yes.
he wants to just do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Have you ever thought of just stopping this altogether and just saying no, absolutely no more?
No, I really haven't thought of that. I don't think that it's not that hard for me to help him. And as I said before, I think there are so few things that that really give him pleasure. I just don't think that would be fair to him. I still love Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just changing.